Good afternoon. I'm always very thankful for the opportunity to present a lesson to you, even if it is at a different time than what we're used to. I was told to let you know that the Song of Invitation will be song number 272. 272. I have decided to follow Jesus. That will be our Song of Invitation following our lesson. Not today, but this week I listened to a podcast that was very interesting to me. It was from a podcast called The Huberman Lab. It's a podcast where they take scientific things and they try to turn it into daily tasks that you can implement into your life to improve your life. And I was looking at a podcast to listen to, and this one said, religion, belief in God, and physical health. And I was like, that's very interesting to see on a science-based podcast. So I clicked, and I listened. And there were a lot of wild things that they said that I did not agree with. But there were some really, really interesting facts that science has began to prove that there is a physical health benefit linked to belief in God and active religion. And these are scientific studies that they have looked at. And I started thinking about it, and as I was listening to it, I was like, that's so cool. And then I started thinking about it. God has been trying to tell us this for 2,000 years. For 2,000 years, God has said, if you follow me, you will be healthy spiritually, and you will get a lot of physical benefits from it too. But the world doesn't see it that way. The world looks at Christianity and says you have to forego any physical benefits, any physical pleasure to be able to be a Christian. We know that's not true. But the world, the science is starting to prove it differently. So this afternoon, I want to look at a few points that they raised, and then we'll show in the Bible where God's been trying to tell us this for 2,000 years. So the first point that I wanted to share with you from this podcast was that they have found that there is a significant decrease in mortality for people who are actively engaged in religion. To be specific, there is a 30% drop in all-cause mortality, a 25% decrease in death due to cancer and cardiovascular disease for people who have been actively engaged in a religion for 15 to 20 years. Now, whenever I say actively engaged in a religion, this means that you are doing more than just calling yourself a Christian. That means that there is active involvement in a church. There's active involvement with God. Just calling yourself a Christian does not get these benefits. And I started to think about this. I'm like, this is amazing. This is awesome. And then I looked and I thought of Proverbs 4, 21 through 22. Proverbs 4, 21 through 22, it says, My son, attend to my words, incline thine ear unto my sayings. Let them not depart from thine eyes. Keep them in the midst of thine heart, for they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. Since the book of Proverbs was written, God has been saying, if you listen to the words that I'm telling you, if you follow my commandments, it's life for you, and it is health unto your flesh. Your physical body can be healthier if you follow the things that I have said. Thought that was so cool. The second point was also very cool. All of these points are very cool to me. I'm a little bit of a nerd, so I hope you can stick with me. But there's this idea of what is called motor synchrony, which means that if two people or a group of people do the same task at the same time, your mind subconsciously connects to those people. They did studies where they sat there and two people would just tap a desk at the exact same beat. And then they ran a compassion test on them, and they were more compassionate. Then they did it with people who are in a religious organization, and they were worshiping or doing things together, and they saw an even greater increase. So to be specific, there's a 30% increase in our compassion towards people that we share this motor synchrony with. Now you may be saying, Connor, how do we do motor synchrony? We do motor synchrony every time we worship. Today we have sat together. We have stood together. We have eaten together. We have talked together. We have sung together. And most of all, one of the biggest impacts, we have prayed together. And we have studied together. When we do all of these things at the same time together, our brain is subconsciously telling us, these are your people. These are the people that you should show compassion to. And it makes us a more compassionate person. Again, so cool how the brain works. But in Hebrews chapter 10, verse 25, God let us know the importance of being together. Here he said, not forsaking the assembly of ourselves together, as the manner of some is, but exhort one another, and so much more as you see the day approaching. 2,000 years ago, God said, it is good for you to be together. Don't forsake the assembly. Come together, worship together, be together, because he knew it would bring us closer. And now we've seen that the brain is subconsciously bringing us closer together whenever we are doing those acts together. Now, the last two that we're going to talk about relate to prayer. And the first one is about loneliness. It is no secret that in our time, our society is lonelier than it has ever been in the history of man. We are isolated, we are lonelier than ever, and loneliness is a true problem facing people today. But as Christians, we get a double benefit here. The first benefit we get is we have a sense of belonging with our fellow brothers and sisters in Christ. We have a unity that the world cannot tear apart from us that gives us a protection against loneliness. But the second big benefit that we have is through prayer. They found that people who are in active communication with God, people that are praying constantly and have a healthy prayer life, are less lonely than anybody else. Because we believe that we have a presence of God with us at all times. We believe that our relationship with God, it's like having a friend that you can call on at any point. Not only is it a friend, but it's an omniscient, omnipotent God. Greater than any friends you could have on this earth. Now again, God in his foresight told us about this in Hebrews 13:5. Hebrews 13:5, here we are told, let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have, for he hath said, I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. God has told us since Hebrews, through the inspired writers, I'm there for you. No matter who else deserts you, I'm here. Think of the Apostle Paul who said, all men have forsaken me, but God stands with me. We have a double dose of protection from loneliness. Now our last point, and this may be my favorite of all of them, is that prayer creates a sense of calm. When you are praying, it has been shown that respiration rates slow. You breathe slower. You increase your duration of your exhalation, so you breathe out longer. And it reduces your heart rate and decreases cortisol levels in your body. Now, to sum all of that up and bring it all together, that basically means that during prayer, the physiology of your body is telling yourself you are safe and you can be calm. These are all signals that your brain sends whenever you can be safe and calm. Whenever I thought of this, I instantly thought of David in Psalm chapter 3. Now, in the context of Psalms chapter 3, we know that David during this time is in hiding from his son Absalom that is trying to kill him and take the throne. There are 10,000 men hunting to kill David. And in Psalms 3, verse 4 and 5, it says, I cried unto the Lord with my voice, or I prayed, and he heard me out of his holy hill, Selah. I laid me down and slept. I awakened, for the Lord sustained me. Now, this chapter has always amazed me. The peace that David is able to find in God in the midst of such a troubling time. And there is no doubt that the reason David could sleep was because of his trust in God and the presence of God. But there was also a physiological effect when David prayed that it told his body, you are safe and you are calm. As Christians, we live in a world that is in constant chaos. There is always stress around us, but we have the ability to go to God in prayer and to be able to tell our body, hey, you're all right, you're safe, you're calm. And it's an amazing, amazing thing that so many people lack because it allows us to become relaxed and peaceful in many environments that others cannot. So I know that this lesson has kind of been a nerdy lesson, and I apologize for that, but I find this stuff so incredibly interesting. And I hope that you do as well. And because now that we have the scientific studies and this physical health benefits being shown to being attached to religion and our relationship with God, we as Christians can look at the world and say, yeah, God's been trying to tell you this for 2,000 years. We didn't need scientific studies. They're nice to have, but we didn't need those studies. God's been telling us over and over throughout the Bible, if you listen to me, if you follow my ways, you will have peace on this earth. You will have health on this earth. And it is so amazing. And so today, as you leave, I hope that you can rest assured in these benefits that we can see. These physical benefits that we can see and feel from being a Christian. But what I hope you don't forget is that the physical benefits are in no comparison to the spiritual benefits that we get. The spiritual reward of having eternity with God in heaven waiting for us. So maybe today you're struggling with something. Maybe today you've been fighting a fight that you no longer want to fight by yourself. We stand ready to help you, to pray for you in whatever regard we can. Or maybe today you haven't been baptized yet and entered into God's family. And you want to become part of that family and to reap the rewards both physically and spiritually that God offers. If we can help you in any way, please come forward as we stand and sing.